Hey guys, I'm Stephen Marks. I'm a young entrepreneur in the Pennsylvania area. I'm here with my co-host,
Rogelio Estrada. I am the owner of Stockpile Instagram. I am also local entrepreneur here in Pennsylvania.
There's a couple different topics we want to talk about today, but really overall for this episode, we want to really introduce ourselves, kind of help you guys get to know us a little bit.
Yep.
So Rogelio, why don't you start off by talking about yourself a little bit? What is Stockpile? How'd you get started?
Yeah, so my name is Rogelio Estrada. I am 20 years old. I am born and raised here in Coatesville, Pennsylvania, and from a young age, I always knew that there's pretty much money in every transaction that takes place, whatever really industry you're in, whether you're in sales, whether you're in customer service, or whatever service or sales you provide, there's money to be made. So from a young age, I grew up watching my parents both work a service industry job, and that pushed me to look for other opportunities or other avenues to bring in income or to experiment and see where other aspects of business can take you in life. So I started Stockpile in 2017 during high school. I started reselling sneakers. It was originally called 425 Soles, but over the pandemic and these past couple of years, I did some reshuffling of the account, and now it's called Stockpile, and we are working to turn it into a full-scale vintage thrift store for the local area. And yeah, that's what we're working on our side. And so I'll give it off to Steven here.
Sweet. Well, I mean, I see you absolutely out there crushing it. I mean, you're kind of like every day doing something different new. That's a new word there.
Yeah.
No, so I'm Stephen Marks. I'm 21 years old, born and raised in Downingtown, Pennsylvania. I pretty much been doing anything that I can make money with my whole life. Grew up with my dad having investment properties, and my family just in general having different businesses.
Yep.
From the hardware industry to just the automotive industry, everything else like that. So I've been just kind of flipping four-wheelers since a young age, then flipping cars, doing every little thing I can, selling paint work, collision work, different things like that. And then the past couple of years, I switched over into real estate.
Yep.
And honestly, it was one of the best decisions of my life. Learned a whole different avenue. Blue collar work and white collar work are completely different. I've done both of them, and they both have their challenges and their rewards. They're different rewards to them. Exactly. So I mean, I still do a lot of collision stuff, but I am a majority in real estate now. Real estate investing. I'm also a realtor. Of course. Different things to helping people out. So
absolutely.
That's a little bit about myself. You got anything to say?
So Steven here is actually crushing it in the local Chester County market. He actually helped us purchase our rental property this year, back in January. So extremely grateful, and we'll definitely be working together this coming year and in the distant future to make more, help you guys, introduce you guys into more ways of making money. So because wherever you look, there's money to be made always.
Yeah. And I think that's the main idea behind this podcast is, like, as we learn and try different ways of being those young entrepreneurs and trying to learn new things and different ways to make money, because honestly, within my couple years of experience here, I've learned a lot of what not to do.
Exactly.
So the idea is just kind of teach you guys what not to do and what to do.
Yeah.
Here. So a little bit about that. There's a couple big things that I've kind of seen happen with the economy lately too. So I definitely want to get into that a little bit, because the economy does play a big thing in towards any sort of part of money.
Always.
So the one big thing that we are seeing is this whole Silicon Valley bank
collapse. Yeah.
Now, to my understanding, is a bunch of over-leveraged
Silicon
bonds.
Valley executive, right?
Yeah, bonds pretty much that got they kind of got flipped, turned upside down on, and it kind of started this whole snowball effect, causing these two other banks as well to kind of fall underneath, which is kind of making a lot of people reevaluate their situation in banking in specific.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've honestly, can sometimes see why people do get worried. I mean, it's 100% like
100%.
It's your money, you want to protect it. They're talking about different sort of programs that are involved with the FDIC to get the money back to the people that kind of lost everything. So we'll see exactly what happens there. I have a feeling it's going to end up being part of the taxpayers' money to help pay these people back. But
at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But you have anything to say on that?
Yeah, I think it goes more to show people that, I'm not too in tune with the whole situation and like the intricacies of all of the problems, but a big chunk of what I know to be a problem in the situation is that these tech companies were leaving certain amounts of money in these checking accounts within Silicon Valley Bank that Silicon Valley Bank was then using to lend out. So for me, this more highlights, that you should not have all your eggs in one basket. It's, through going through high school and changing and moving my whole life and the pandemic now that we have under our belt that we've thankfully overcome, you can never ever have all your eggs in one basket. It turns into a real headache for you. And the headache that you could be having trying to diversify will far pay out way more than trying to leave all your eggs in one basket. It's never a good idea.
Yeah, that's how I was when I was in high school. I was pretty heavy in stock trading and crypto, and that's kind of like how it was. It was like every single day you're sitting there like in class just checking your phone, and you're like, yo, what's going on? Like, you had your red days. Those were your bad days.
Bad days, right.
Like,
why?
Your mood for the rest of the day was awful because you're checking it constantly 24/7. And
if that's everything you have, then it's like, how else are you going to feel? You know?
Like I had my couple $100 that was outside my my investment accounts, and that was strictly just to make like more money flipping things and trying to reinvest and make more money with it. So it was like, okay, like if I lose everything, I have a couple $100 to my name. Like, and I mean, being in high school, like a couple $100 is a good amount for a high schooler to have, but
definitely,
when you work your way up, I mean, you're talking about like you work your way up from $500-600, and then eventually you save up like $5-6 grand. By senior year, you're like, all right, like I don't want to lose this money, and you're like, I want to do the smart thing with this and invest it, because everybody your whole life's like telling you invest.
Yeah.
But unless you learn the right ways to actually diversify that portfolio and make it so it's actually steady, you can lose everything. I mean, I've lost several thousands in 1 month off of just simple stuff as a crypto crash or a market crash.
And for me, I've been more into like the different side hustles aspect. Steven's been more into like labor type side hustles. I've been more into like flipping type side hustles. So in my side hustles, it's been an issue for me as well where, I'll get really entrenched into something new, and out of wanting that new avenue to succeed, I invest too much money into it and the money doesn't come back out. And then it's not that I lose the money, but the money's not cash flowing as it should be. For example, when Amazon FBA was a really hot button topic and everybody was on it, and everything seasonal was moving and going, I had a good chunk of money that I had already made in Amazon. So I took that money, and if you don't know every aspect of what you're doing, at times it can become gambling. That's another thing that you want to watch out for. So during this time, I had made a couple $1,000s on Amazon, pure profit, and I decided I wanted to be like these guys I saw on social media, taking these big risks and buying these big ticket items, not realizing that there's the credit aspect, the loan aspect, the e-commerce funding aspect to all this stuff, which is stuff that you really should be doing your research on before you go all in with your own money on this type of stuff. So when I invested this money into a seasonal product, I ended up losing about $4,000 or $5,000, which the grand scheme of things is only just a valuable lesson that you're learning. But as a 19-year-old, $5,000-6,000 can really affect it, can really put you back. So it's just knowing what you're doing and really taking those steps and talking to people that have more know-how to really get ahead in what you're doing.
Yeah, that's a 100% thing. That's the big thing too, is finding the people that know the know-how. I mean, when I first being young, I would say I was young and dumb.
Right.
You know, like I've gotten scammed a couple times. You know,
Same.
I've lost money on dumb things. You know, because like when you're younger, you want to find that mentor that you can look for.
Definitely,
and
that's a huge
I
thing.
think that's the hardest thing to do, is actually finding a mentor in your right niche. Now, I mean, for real estate, it wasn't necessarily the hardest thing to for me, because there's a lot of real estate agents out there. But for like, I used to do some drop shipping and stuff like that. Like it was impossible to find somebody that was actually decent to teach you like the exact marketing
or that was willing.
Yeah, willing, because it's kind of like such a tight packed niche. And so then it's like, okay, you do some research and you find out that Amazon or Google does have free courses on how to run Google ads.
Right.
You know, they do have free courses on how to do X, Y, and Z, and then you kind of like learn from that, and then you can kind of start, outsourcing things and build it out a little bit bigger. But, there's a reason like why when I did have those companies, they never succeeded, is because I never, gave it my 100%, and I didn't know what I was doing, because I didn't do the right research.
Exactly.
That's exactly like
where people really fail to get stuff off the ground, is the know-how. Like, obviously, if you know what you're doing in the specific thing, like how Steven here mentioned before that he was doing automotive work and paint work and body work. See, that's an industry and a niche that he already knows, so he can get off the ground almost instantaneously because he knows the work and he's good at it, right? But if you don't know how to scale and delegate tasks and allocate the right amount of capital into the certain areas of your business that really need it, then ultimately you're going to end up just becoming like an employee for yourself, which is not really the goal here.
Exactly.
The goal here is to create cash flow, create,
income.
More passive income, right?
If you guys are properly running your business, it shouldn't feel like work. And I feel like that's kind of like
where
the biggest line. That's like where most people mess up.
Yeah.
I still do, like I said, I still do a lot of automotive work, but like now that I'm no longer in a body shop.
Exactly.
So the automotive work I do is kind of smaller that I do take on, but I'm able to kind of sublet a lot of the work I do. I went to high school with a ton of buddies that know how to do automotive work.
Exactly.
So that's kind of like what I do, is I built that referral base up because I was doing it from like when I was 16 until like 20, like full time, like heads in the industry. So I built that kind of like referral base up where it was like, okay, like these people come to me all the time. Hey man, can you color match this? Can you fix this rust? Can you do this? And it's like, I don't have time, but you know what? Bring it to me. I'll get it done. I'll sublet it to a buddy. I pay him 90%. I take 10% for myself. But in reality, I didn't really do much work. I just kind of gave him the client.
Right.
And so that's kind of like being, like at the point, you're kind of contracting at that point.
Yeah.
But you're also still providing the quality work, because you need to find the people that do the quality work that you know how to do.
Right. And that you trust.
Yeah, because I only built that referral base up because people knew I did good quality work.
Yeah. That's important. Really establishing those first few customers and those first few what do you call them? The first few connections outward that are really going to bring in that foundational base of customers.
And I think that's any really service-based industry that you get into now, whether it's landscaping, whether it be automotive work,
house cleaning,
like pressure washing, whatever it is, like any of these side hustles that you see on like TikTok or Instagram, a lot of those industries are literally like you can build a massive business by word of mouth.
Just by word of mouth.
Strictly, like, just the hardest part is getting your first like 3-4 clients.
Yeah.
And then building your database. Like once you learn how to network and properly build a database, like it becomes easier and easier. It's
subcontracting, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. It's just trying to find the structure to build it.
Right.
We have a good buddy of ours. He scaled his landscaping company from doing $500,000 a year to doing over $1.3 million in 1 year.
Yes, 1 year.
And that's strictly because he learned how to
delegate tasks,
and he learned from his mistakes too. He learned what he wasn't making money on. Like he stopped cutting grass in general.
And got that aspect completely out of his business. There was no time, there was no downtime in his, obviously, it's landscaping. There's time for you to, that winter time is really a good time for you to get ahead on what's to come. So, there was no downtime on that. He saw he wasn't making money, and he said, you know what, doesn't work for my business, I'm out of it. And that's how you have to grow as a real business person, is you have to understand that not everything is a charity. Just because obviously you're providing that service to those people, you can't feel bad because you're not going to provide that service anymore. It's just simply business. That's how it goes.
And I think a lot of it too comes into like too many people give up too soon with it too. Like getting your first 4 clients, like, oh, like things didn't work out, like whatever, like that. Like I don't like the industry is just not for me, but it's something I enjoy. Well, if it's something you enjoy, like don't give up on it, because like in reality it takes 2 to 3 years to build a good business, and that's on the short end too. Like 2 to 3 years, like depending on how much work you put in, could be nothing or it could be a whole lot of work. And that's where you start to see the growth though, because like now, like for example with my real estate business, I came into the industry and I had 0 referrals. Like I had 0 like I didn't really know anybody. Like we're younger, what person our age is really buying properties,
buying or selling a property,
too much. It's more of like I got to target our parents.
I got
to target
friends.
like different niches, grandparents, everything else like that, trying to get out there.
That maybe stuff like that, right?
And nobody, honestly, really, like for the first couple of months, nobody really took me seriously because like I'm a young dude,
guy,
It's like okay, but like once I got in their head, I'm young, motivated, I'm like here to actually get the job done, and I'm going to do it right. Like once you get that in their head and you realize like you can do it, and you don't really have that mindset of like, oh, they're just judging me or they're just doing this, and like, because like my first like 6 months I wanted to quit every single day. Like I hated it, and I still get like that sometimes. Like I still get the feeling of like, hey, like is this really what I want to do for the rest of my life? But then it's like, okay, like I'll close like 1 or 2 more sales, and it's like this is why I do it. Because like in reality, like I closed 3 deals, and if I look back at my actual logs, I worked like 3 days.
Right.
So it's like, okay, so how do I get to that point? And that's kind of like what we want to like help learn from each other in this podcast. We want to like learn to help you guys with is how do you get to the point where you can have that structure foundation in your business.
Right.
You can hire your first employee, and how you can scale.
Scales. Because most important.
Yeah, scaling is also the hardest thing to do,
and the most important. Yeah, most important and hardest thing to execute.
Because like that's when you start like like we're both just LLCs. We're getting started out. We're building our structure. Hopefully a year from now, we could say we're an S corp.
Right.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
But it takes time to build up to that, and it takes time to grow. And so that's the idea. Is we want you guys to learn with us, so we can do that.
Definitely. And Steven here is more so service related and sales, because he sells services. He sells the actual selling of your house or the buying of your house. And on my end, I'm more of product and like resale type person. So there are going to be different keys and like different niches that you guys can really take a lot of value from because of the exposure that both of us are in. So and both of our backgrounds both very similar but different, and I feel like a lot of people can really get a lot of value from listening to both of us, just because our backgrounds and what we have managed to learn these past couple of years. They're running our business and really trying to start this process to scale and get big.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then we're also going to have, we have a couple guests lined up to come on, some local entrepreneurs, people that we can learn from ourselves. It's going to be kind of like interview, but also hopefully we can extract some knowledge from them and provide it to you guys.
And in all aspects of life, because, as a business person, you really learn that, if you're not doing well in your personal life, that's going to negatively affect how you run your business. And if you're not taking yourself and your personal priorities, if you're not taking importance in that, then you're going to lack in a lot of areas of your business. You're not going to be there mentally. You're going to be losing clients or losing sales or whatever it may be. But that's really the point here, is to try to give you guys all the keys that we've learned along the way to really stay focused, get things done, and really take action, because at the end of the day, like we've noticed here between us two, last year we were talking all the time about getting together and looking at properties or whatever the case was back then. But if we didn't get up and take action when we did, we would still be either trying to get clients for your real estate business, and then I would still be looking at homes, trying to like figure out when is the best time to buy. And I think that's really the key, is take action, because if you don't take action, you're always going to be with that that little thing in your head, like what if well, what's going to happen.
I mean, we did that
if you take action.
We did that for a long time. Like we've been talking about this for like doing a podcast for probably like 6 to 8 months now.
6 to 8 months, exactly.
And it's like we just had to actually like had to do it. Because we've been talking about this, like we have these conversations every single day with different people, different entrepreneurs, and just like dude, we should talk about this, like share this with others.
Yeah.
Because like we've learned so much.
Exactly.
I mean, it's to the fact, like, are we experts in everything? No. Like we're still learning. We're still here to learn.
Exactly.
But the idea is to just kind of everything that we learn to give to you guys.
Yeah, and we're not trying to shy away from that at all. A lot of people in your industry, the real estate industry, they might look at you and they say, "Oh, he's a complete beginner." Same on my end. People in the sales industry or in the the retail industry, they're going to look at me and they're going to say, "Oh, he's a newbie as well. He's completely beginner." But that's not a problem. Why? Because there's still value in the road to really getting your business to where you want it to be. And if we can get that out and really show people that, it's not just a pretty yellow brick road paved to success, and like it's not going to be 100% easy all the time, then you guys can really see like what you have to do to get where you want to be. So, I mean, I think that's really important, and I feel like a lot of people can really learn from, even if you don't want to apply any of this to your professional life, maybe you have a job. That's completely cool too. It's there can be a lot of benefit in just learning about what business entails or how professionals run their life. There's a lot of things that people can pick up from just simply talking to people and learning what's going on their side of their business or their side of their personal life. For example, my current landlord where I live, I didn't know that Steve knew one of his clients. But hey, what happened? We talked about it. We got into conversation. And we figured out that, there might be more money for Steve there or more money for us there. It's all about really getting these conversations going and really talking about these topics.
No, networking is the key to any business.
Definitely.
But yeah, I think that is going to kind of wrap up and conclude the first podcast, first episode here. Plan on trying to do these every single week. But if you guys have any questions, any comments, how we can improve this, how to make it better,
or if you guys want to come on down and really sit down with us and join the conversation, talk with us, chop it up, even grab lunch, whatever. Come on down. We're trying to build.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.